Hello, my name is Tim and I am a tutor at Britsent. So everyone knows that the introduction is one of the most important parts of an essay, but many students struggle with where to start. It can be quite difficult when you're looking at a blank page. So today I'm going to share 3 tips on how to write the perfect introduction to your essay. When you're writing in any language, it's important to consider the purpose of what you are writing. So, what is the purpose of an introduction? Well, there are 3 important ones. Firstly, to introduce the topic and summarize background information. Secondly, to state the key argument of the essay. And thirdly, to indicate the structure of the essay. So let's look at each purpose in more detail. First purpose is to introduce the topic and summarize background information. So how do you do this? Well, it's important to follow a funnel structure in your introduction. A funnel structure means starting with the most general information before moving to specific details and finally your thesis statement. Let's take a look at a simplified introduction to an essay about the importance of English education for young children. English is becoming increasingly important as a global language. More and more people need to use it for work and travel, no matter where they live. Research states that younger children are more capable of learning a foreign language than adults. Therefore, ESL education should begin from a young age. In this introduction, you can see the author moves from a very general statement about the importance of English towards more specific details about why English is important. You might also be wondering what a thesis statement is, which brings us to the second purpose of an introduction, summarizing the key argument of your essay. We do this with a thesis statement, which is usually the last sentence of your introduction. The thesis statement should summarize your argument in one sentence. It narrows down the topic to the specific area that you are looking at and states your opinion on the topic. Let's look at some examples. Talking with native speakers is the best way to improve your fluency in a foreign language. Climate change can only be combated with a combination of corporate and governmental action. To protect the economy during a pandemic, it's important to support small businesses. You can see each of these thesis statements expresses an opinion on the topic. Let's move to the final purpose of the introduction, which is to indicate the structure of your essay. Now, this might not be relevant for shorter essays. For this purpose, you can add information between your supporting sentences and the thesis statement, or you could incorporate this into your thesis statement. When you do this, remember to avoid using I and use phrases such as this essay or this dissertation instead. Let's take a look at some examples. This dissertation will first explore the economic problems that the US faces before discussing how the government can address these. The first chapter will be devoted to analysing the advantages of electric cars, and the second will focus on the disadvantages. 3 key reasons for learning a foreign language will be explored in this essay: employment opportunities, cognitive benefits, and travel. So, let's practice this by adding to the introduction that we looked at the start of the video. English is becoming increasingly important as a global language. More and more people need to use it for work and travel, no matter where they live. In addition, research states that young children are more capable of learning foreign languages than adults. Therefore, this essay will argue that ESL education should begin from a young age by examining the advantages of learning a foreign language as a child. So, you can see I've added to the thesis statement to give some structural information, and now it's even clearer. So, you've learned 3 important things about writing an introduction today. First, you should begin with general statements and then get more specific. Second, you should include a thesis statement that summarizes your argument. And finally, for longer essays, it's good to include some structural information to tell your reader how you will answer the question. Okay, now off you go to write a brilliant introduction to your essay. Remember, this is just a general guide, so if you're feeling uncertain, it's a good idea to check with your supervisor, since all essays are a little bit different. If you're still struggling with academic writing, you can send your essay to our editing service for expert correction by our team of trained editors. And if you need help with Korean to English translation, we can do that too. Remember to follow our Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube to stay up to date with the latest information. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.